YouTube? This is Charlie426, and today we have the review of the P-Bandai exclusive or P-Bandai exclusive HD Gundam Load Astray Omega. Now, I do say Omega because on the instruction manual base or on the box, the name of the mobile suit is actually said Load Astray, and then you can see on the ends in there's the Greek symbol for Omega, so that I would assume that is, you know, Load Astray Omega. Now this, I honestly didn't expect this to actually become an actual kit because of how the design is, but apparently they did, despite from what it is, they did a pretty good job on making an actual kit out of it. Now granted, there is a bit amount of stickers, but most of these stickers are, you know, acceptable stickers, and most of them can be actually colored pretty easily, so I don't actually have too many complaints. And also, I believe there was a build divers variant of this specific mobile suit, but I personally did not like that, and hopefully I bought this hoping that I would like this more better, and the answer is yes. So let's see what we got. So as usual, let's go over the stuff that you might want to know. So number one, this specific mobile suit does actually appear in a specific manga, which I believe is called the Gundam Astray Princess of the Sky. Now I haven't read the manga, so I can't really say more than that. So that's all I'm going to explain. So yeah, according to the wiki, this is supposed to be using very rare metals, but because of what happened while on transportation thing, it could not be fully completed. The rare metals, part of it had to be used somewhere else, so only half of it was used, making this guy incomplete. I'm not sure if there is a completed form out there, but still, who knows. Alright, so component wise, pretty much what you see is pretty much what you get in terms of weapons as well. So other than the weapon, I'll get into that later. So other than that, hand wise, you only get a set of multi-purpose hands, so there is no open hand, there is no trigger finger hand as well, because this thing does not have any beam rifle weapons. So as you can see on the back, there is that giant sword that is actually stored in there. I'm not sure if there is a name for this specific sword, so let me just check the manual one more time. And yeah, I don't think it really mentions the specific name for this sword. Anybody who knows the name, do let me know. Or I could technically check the wiki one more time, but still, that's just the way how it is. Now, despite it may look like it only has one weapon, that giant sword on the background can be used in various ways. It can split into two weapons, and then, or technically three when you think about it, but still, I'll be demonstrating those later. Now, part-wise, these are pretty much the leftover parts other than this one. This is the whip form, basically. So you can technically use this, but one thing, you do need to do some parts forming from that giant sword. So just want to mention that. And then here we have some leftover parts here. So these are the shoulder areas, but while they may look similar on the ones on the black ones, there is a few differences as well. And the way how these parts here are entirely different ways how you connect them. So yeah, I believe these are, I'm going to assume that these are from the build divers variant. We do have some leftover polycaps, and then we have some inner shoulder frames here. Now this one, it does look almost identical, but one thing, I believe the position of the peg here is slightly different than the one on this kit, so which is why we do have a leftover of those. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the leftovers. Now in terms of sticker wise, here we do get a decal sheet, sticker decal sheet. Now the instruction manual does mention where to apply these as well, so just keep that in mind. And then here is the actual sticker sheet. Now it may look like a lot, but once again, I did not use everything at the same time, and most of these stickers are pretty much manageable and can be colored instead. So you can see most of these gray ones and black ones, I decided to color them. Now technically I could have colored these ones, but once again I was feeling a little bit lazy. The green ones, now because of how small they are, they might be tricky to color, but once again it is technically possible if you have the right tools here as well. The only thing that might be tricky to color would be the eyes and the one that goes on the back, which I have zero information on. But once again, we'll get into that as we go. So, as you can see, despite that gigantic sword, it's holding up pretty well in terms of balance. So, just for the sake of the review, I'm gonna take this off because it is kind of distracting me a lot. So here we have the sword. Yes, the sword can be actually stored in there. Now, without the sword, the back section may look a little bit, bland, but just bear with me. Alright, so let's start with the head part as well. So the head, definitely, I do like the overall design of the head. Now, I'm not the biggest Astray fan out there, but one thing, I think despite how complicated and edgy this design looks, I think they did a pretty good job on making a kit out of it and then doing a good amount of color separations here. So back then, I would assume like a lot of these parts, especially like these white sections on the side, would have been stickers in the past, but now they're all color separated parts. Even the red section here, the only ones that I actually use are the eyes, and I think one side of the sticker is starting to peel off, but I might need to fix that. But still, that's the way it is. Now, I would like to mention because of there's so many fins around here. Now, despite having two sets of fins here, that this is actually a single huge black piece. So do be careful about that. So articulation wise can go down that much, and there is the neck arc joints so that you can move a little bit more down if you want to do so. Upwise, you can go up, and then 360 should be technically possible. And on the back side, we do have a second face here, but even on the wiki, there's not much mention on what this face is supposed to be here. So yeah, I'm not sure if this is I'm assuming that, well, if this was the final completed version, maybe this guy would have the alternative battle mode or something. But once again, the manual does not really mention about this one, other than the stickers. So yeah, just wanted to mention that part. Just to be clear, now the eyes are obviously sticker, but this is a huge part of sticker. So the eyes and then this area with the gray and the red section, those are also a single piece of a sticker with the eye. So applying this might be very tricky, so keep that in mind. And then if there's one thing I don't like about the head is that these white parts are separate pieces, but once again, the way how they don't actually stick to the head too well. There's actually a small peg on the back which is locked in by this white piece on the face, but it doesn't actually go in all the way through. So I'm slightly worried that those white parts are gonna fall off eventually. So that's only my gripe for the head. But other than that, they did a pretty good job on the head design, especially with the color separation. Alright, so let's get these shoulders here. Now, shoulders are much more simple compared to the ones we saw in the Build Divers variant. So we do have a nice ball jointed shoulder which allows us to go forward and backward like that. So pretty good range if you ask me. And then going through, because it's a ball joint, going 360 is also possible. This side shoulder part here is, once again, these green sections are technically a sticker. Now, it would seem logical to have some sort of sticker around here, but once again, they did something on the elbow area, but not on this section here, so it does feel a little bit awkward, but who knows. Alright, and then once again, this does technically use a C-clip type joint, but once again, these C-clips were actually pretty on the tight side, so I'm actually pretty satisfied about it, because I know one of the biggest issues out with the C-clip type joints, according to the community and people, is that they do get loose eventually, which I have had some experience with other kits, but this one doesn't seem like it's going to get loose too soon. So, and then I do like the fact that they did a pretty good job on the color separation here. So there's a white section here, and then there's a separate red section, and then a gray, and then a black layer. So there's like 4 layered pieces here. So they did a pretty good job on how, despite how, you know, the arms are. And then another sticker here is at the wrist section here. Now this white section on the hand is technically, you can technically pull it out and reposition it in any section you want to do so. Now the reason for this is that when you're holding the sword, especially in double hand posing, these parts might get in the way, which is why you need to reposition these parts. And the black section here on the wrist, that is a sticker. So once again, I did use a sticker because I was feeling lazy, but once again, you could just color that area if you want to do so. Hand is your typical ball jointed hand, and then obviously bend is pretty good because it's a C-clip type joint. And then 360 twist on the arm is technically possible, but once again, be careful not to overdo it because it might actually pop out, because there is not many clearance inside the shoulder armor, so keep that in mind. And then going to the side, once again, 90 degrees is possible, but other than that, going more, you're gonna have to, because these parts are blocking the way, so yeah, that's as far as you go. Now body-wise, it's pretty good. So we basically make the top body section, and then there's this black middle section that actually has a polycap ball joint on top and bottom. So yeah, the connection point was a little bit stiff, but once again, once you have it in, you should have a pretty good range of movement at like this. So ab crunch, it does technically exist. Now there is, despite how the same connection is in the bottom, there's no separate movement on the bottom section here. So yeah, that's as far as you go. And once again, everything you see here, like, these are all color separated pieces. So the red section here, the white section, as I mentioned, like the arms, they did a pretty good job on the color separation. Now, once again, you can see this on this belly area, this gray section, that is supposed to be a sticker. I decided to use a gray metallic silver Gundam marker, and it worked out pretty well. And then on the front skirts, they come as a fully white piece, as a single piece, but you can divide the ball joint if you want to do so. I did color these also are supposed to be gray sticker areas, but once again, I decided to use a silver Gundam marker, and it turned out pretty well. Okay, so that's that for the main body. And looking at the backpack, once again, this whole thing is a backpack. Now you do need this in order to store the sword at the same time. So yeah, and a lot of these parts do get covered up by this giant backpack and then gigantic back skirt going on here. Yeah, definitely a big back skirt if you ask me. and we do see some familiar parts from the previous, Build Darius variant. And then, as I mentioned before, here we have some stickers. Now, these stickers are oddly enough not like these ones, because these ones you can see on the middle of the shoulder, there is actually a separating point here. So they actually gave you 2 stickers to put top and bottom. This one, despite having the same structure, they just give you a single piece sticker. So you have to do some, wrapping around situations. So I'm not sure why they did that, but yeah. Now the main body, now you could technically go 360, but just to make sure, like, once you do that, for some reason, make sure everything is back to position. And then on the another odd sticker for me was that on the sides here we have these camera stickers, or green stickers, that applies onto the side area. Once again, kind of an odd situation, but I'll take it. And then once again, like the arms, the legs here are also all, like multi-layered. So you have the black piece, gray piece, red piece, and white piece. So they did a really good job on that as well for the legs. Now on the side of the legs, we have these parts that can, are connected to ball joints. And as you can see, I may have moved it a little bit much, but once again, you can attach these parts as well. And they do stay in place. And then on the knee section, once again, we do have a sticker here, but once again, these are all, despite there being a dividing part here, these 2 are actually separate stickers. So the only ones that was very odd were the ones on the elbow. Now leg wise, they can go to the side as well. And then once again, I believe the legs are not using C-clip type joints. There's actually a middle joint here that connects to the top and bottom, so no need to worry about that. So going to the side is no problem. And then make sure everything is staying there. And then we do have the system where you can relocate the overall leg position if you want to do so. I'm not sure why my camera is having so much trouble, focusing today, but once again, and then side swivel does exist, but don't go overdo it, because it feels like this thing has to be in a very specific area to lock it into place. But once again, it does exist. And then bend wise, it's supposed to have a decent bend, but you can see the armor pieces are just blocking the way. So in this case, the articulation does exist, but it is hindered by its own design. So keep that in mind. So yeah. And then feet wise are your typical ball jointed feet, so nothing too special there. It's a ball joint, and then we do have a nice pivot joint as well, and going forward and backward is possible, but no toe bend for this kit as well. Once again, I don't think toe bends are too much helpful, but that's just my own opinion. Alright, so we did see the basics of the kit, so I think the only thing that's left is to demonstrate the weapon. So I'll be right back with the first weapon demonstration, which is holding the giant sword. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So here we have the first demonstration of holding the gigantic sword with 2 hands. So obviously it's pretty possible, but once again, when you're doing this pose, make sure that like these hand guards on the side or these wrist armors are actually on the correct position, because if you sometimes put it on the wrong direction, you might actually knock them off, or the hand might not have enough, space to actually hold the in the proper location and making it pop out, or the hand guards popping out. But once again, holding the sword with 2 hands is no problem, and then everything is holding fine. Of course, now balancing the entire thing might be a little bit tricky, but once you get the hang of it, you should get the hang of it. Now, once again, it is a little bit on the heavy side, but once again, I think it is enough for it to manage as well. Now, a few things I forgot to mention regarding the stickers is that you can see on the legs here, these black sections on the bottom, here on the armor, you can see this part is obviously a color separate piece, but around here, this white section here is actually where you have to put a sticker here. So, which is why I decided to use a black Gundam marker and color this section right over here to match it up. And then on the feet here, oddly enough, there is a red sticker on the feet section on each side, so you do get 4 of these red stickers, and also once again 4 of these black stickers for the feet. So. But once again, those are the parts I decided to color, and once again, most of these stickers are pretty manageable to color, if you ask me. So once again, once you have it in the right balance, you should have no problem as well, so make sure that happens. And if you're wondering if this thing can hold the sword with 1 hand, I would say it is technically possible. So I'm just going to pop out a hand, and so you can see it is holding the sword with no problem as well. But of course, you're going to have to position the hand in a proper area, because it will get heavy eventually. So it does hold it, but once again, it's technically meant for a double hand for full potential. So because of the weight, it is going to droop down the arm, if you ask me, in the long run. So right now, it is even doing that. So yeah, just keep that in mind. All right, so we've seen the basics of the large one. I'll be right back with the double version as well. the way, or so basically what I mean is that, so basically there's two ways to utilize these each blades. You can split these blades in half, and you can use them in different ways. So I'll be right back with that demonstration. Okay, I'm back. So here we have the second demonstration of the weapon. So basically, from the large sword, you take out the black giant handle here, and at this point you might be able to guess how to utilize this as well later. You can split out the blades in half, and then you can pull out each of their individual handles and then make it into these two forms. So the one on the left side is referred as the single edge form, and then on the other right arm is the one which may look like a club, is actually referred as the double edge form. So you can see if you can make these into both long swords, or if you can make them into look like this club form. So basically, while it does say double edge, at this point I feel like this is more like a chopping sword, like a machete or a kukri style blade at this point. So once again, it's a pretty cool, unique idea to be able to split a giant sword into other forms as well. Then again, when you think about it, the other Astrays with the giant swords did do that concept a few times as well. So yeah, I guess it's nothing too new, but the fact that it's using a different style and design is also pretty unique to me as well. Alright, so at this point there is only one more weapon to show, and I'll be right back with that as well. Okay, I'm back. So here we have the final weapon demonstration here. So the last one is basically you can take out the black handle and then you can attach the whip part here. So this is supposed to be like a chain blade kind of thing, but once again, kit-wise, they just gave you a black single piece black plastic piece. So this is not exactly a bendable thing. So this may feel like a little bit, not really that much impactful compared to the other weapons as well. So this is my least favorite weapon in this set personally, but yeah, it's good to know that you do have the option. And once again, I'm pretty sure this was kind of obvious, but once again, if you don't like the double-edged sword, the giant double-edged sword, you can technically take out one and then reattach just one single large blade if you want to do so. So this does also look pretty good to me, so it's really up to your choice and preference at this point. Anyway, that is pretty much it for the Load Astray Mega. So once again, I actually really did enjoy building this kit, and while there were a good amount of stickers, but once again, most of these stickers were manageable and I could technically color them if I wanted to. So I'm gonna say this definitely is much better compared to the Build Diaries variant that I reviewed some time ago. So I actually do like this variant. And once again, I wouldn't mind seeing the more completed version according to the story-wise of this specific mobile suit if I understood that correctly. But once again, I'm really satisfied with this. So once again, if you're a big fan of the Astrays or if you're just collecting all the variants, I would say this is also a very good one to get if you ask me. Anyway, thank you for watching the review. This was the review of the P-Bandai exclusive HD Gundam Load Astray Omega. If you guys got any questions or requests, you can comment below. I still have more stuff to buy and build and make reviews out, so please stay tuned. Until then, see you guys next time.